My beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, I want to remind you of a profound truth that many of us overlook in the race of life. In this world, people measure success by how much you gain, money, status, followers, recognition. But in the eyes of Allah, true success comes not by gaining, but by surrendering. You win by losing, my brothers and sisters, and that loss is the ego, the arrogance, the attachment to this world. The moment you drop these things for the sake of Allah, you haven't lost anything. You've actually gained everything. People often misunderstand the idea of surrendering. They think it means giving up, stepping back, or being weak. But in the path of Islam, surrendering to Allah is one of the most powerful actions a believer can take. When a person raises their hands in dua and says, "Ya Allah, I can't do this on my own," that is not a declaration of defeat. It is a declaration of strength. It is an acknowledgement that there is a higher power, the creator of the heavens and the earth, who controls everything. And when you connect with that power, you are not weak. You are stronger than ever. The world teaches us to always push, to hustle, to strive for control, to depend solely on ourselves. But this self-reliance often leads to anxiety, burnout, and disappointment. Why? Because we are trying to carry the weight of the world on our own shoulders. We forget that we were never created to handle everything alone. We forget that the one who created us is closer to us than our jugular vein. A peace that no amount of money or worldly success can give. When you fall into sujud, when your forehead touches the ground, you are at your lowest physically. But spiritually, you are at your highest. That is where you find true strength. In that moment of complete submission, you are stronger than the one who stands tall in arrogance, because you have chosen to lower yourself in front of the only one worthy of being bowed. You have surrendered your pride, your ego, and your illusion of control, and that is the beginning of true power. People may say you're weak for crying out to Allah, for relying on Him, for trusting in His plan, but in the eyes of Allah, you are among the strong. The Prophet himself would spend long hours in prayer, crying to Allah, surrendering to Him. If the most beloved of Allah surrendered in this way, how can we ever think that we are too strong to do the same? Sometimes the biggest victories come through the smallest acts of submission, taking a moment to pray on time, biting your tongue when you want to respond in anger, saying Alhamdulillah in moments of loss. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of a heart that is alive, connected to its creator. And a heart that surrenders to Allah is a heart that knows peace. So never be ashamed of surrendering. Let go of the illusion that you have to control everything. Let go of the pressure to always appear strong. Turn to Allah, ask Him, cry to Him, and trust Him. Because true strength is not in standing alone, it is in standing with Allah. And when Allah is with you, nothing in this world can overpower you. When the world takes something away from you, it feels like loss. It feels like pain, disappointment, even injustice. You may lose a job you loved, a person you cared about, a dream you were working so hard for. And in that moment, your heart aches. You ask yourself, "Oh, why me?" You wonder if things will ever be the same again. But my beloved brothers and sisters, remember something powerful. When you lose something for the sake of Allah, you never truly lose. You are in fact winning something far greater, perhaps in this world, but most definitely in the next. The dunya is not designed to be permanent. It is not meant to fulfill your every desire. It is a place of test, of hardship, of temporary satisfaction. Allah tells us in the Quran that He will test us with fear, hunger, and loss. But He also gives glad tidings to the patient, those who say in the face of loss, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun." We belong to Allah, and to Him we shall return. That statement alone is a victory. Why? Because it is proof that your heart is attached to the right place, not to the material world, but to the creator of it. You may walk away from a relationship that was haram. You may turn down a business deal because it involved cheating or interest. You may give up a lifestyle that was comfortable but sinful, and you might feel the emptiness at first. But that space in your heart, that vacuum, is exactly where Allah places His light, His peace, and His reward. The Prophet taught us that whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better. The better may not look like what you expected. It may not even come right away. But it will come. Either in this world in a form more beautiful, or in the hereafter in a form unimaginable. The true believer is not the one who never experiences pain. The true believer is the one who transforms that pain into purpose, who takes the loss of the dunya and sees it as a step closer to the akhirah. Every time something is taken away from you, Allah is redirecting you. He is protecting you from something you couldn't see. Sometimes He is preparing you for a better chapter. And sometimes He is simply drawing you nearer to Him, because there is no better place to be than close to your Rabb. So do not be sad when you lose something while obeying Allah. That loss may be your greatest victory. That sacrifice may be the reason your du'as are accepted. That patience may be the reason you are elevated in Jannah. Keep trusting. Keep walking and know this. When you choose Allah over the dunya, you are never truly losing. You are always, always winning. There is a beautiful peace that comes when you stop trying to control every detail of your life and instead choose to trust Allah completely. We spend so much of our lives worrying about our future, our finances, our relationships, our careers. We try to plan every step, prepare for every scenario, and fix every problem. But in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. We carry a burden that was never ours to carry in the first place. This is where the true meaning of surrender, of tawakkul, becomes so powerful. It is the quiet inner strength of a believer who says, I have done my part, now I leave the rest to Allah. When a person places their trust in Allah, they release themselves from the chains of constant anxiety and fear, because they know that whatever happens, good or bad, is already written. And if Allah wrote it, then it must have wisdom behind it, even if we can't understand it at the time. The believer doesn't stop working hard or taking action, but they don't become obsessed with the results. They understand that effort is in their hands, but outcomes belong to Allah alone. This is not passivity. It is the highest form of active surrender. This kind of trust allows you to breathe in moments that would break others. It helps you stay calm when everything seems to be falling apart. It helps you move forward even when you can't see the full path ahead. When you say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, Allah is sufficient for us and He is the best disposer of affairs. You are reminding your soul that you are never alone, that there is a divine plan unfolding even in the silence, even in the delay, even in the detour. There is strength in admitting that you do not have all the answers, that you are not in control, because that is when you begin to feel the presence of the one who is. That is when Allah's help begins to flow in unexpected ways. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer. You stop overthinking and start making decisions based on faith, not fear. You sleep better because your trust is no longer in the people or the circumstances, but in the one who controls both. And what a gift that is to know that your Creator is watching over you, guiding you, protecting you. To know that when you fall short, He will cover you with His mercy. When you are lost, He will open doors you never imagined. And when the world says no, He can still say yes. All it takes is trust, sincere, deep, unshakable trust. That is the power of surrender. That is the beauty of tawakkul. So keep moving forward, not because everything is certain, but because you know who is in charge. And when Allah is in charge, you have absolutely nothing to fear. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. You try your best, you give your all, you make the right choices, and yet you face setbacks that leave you feeling defeated. You lose friends, you lose opportunities, you face rejection and betrayal. And you begin to wonder why. Despite doing good, things still go wrong. But the truth is, these moments of loss are not signs that Allah is displeased with you. Rather, they are signs that He is preparing you for something greater. Allah humbles His servants before He elevates them, not to punish them, but to purify them and make them ready for what lies ahead. When Allah loves someone, He tests them. That is a fact found in the teachings of the Prophet Letafeh. And sometimes those tests come in the form of deep emotional pain or worldly loss. But through that hardship, something beautiful begins to happen. The heart that was once full of pride becomes soft. The soul that was too focused on the dunya turns back to the one who created it. In those painful moments, you find yourself calling out to Allah in a way you never did when everything was easy. You cry to Him, you beg Him, and you rediscover your need for Him. That is not a failure. That is a spiritual victory. Look at the lives of the prophets. Yusuf, Arabicen, Arabicen, Arabicet, Arabica, Arabicen, Arabicin, Arabiclam, Arabicin, Arabiclam. Arabicanim was thrown into a well by his own brothers. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Anyone else in his position would feel like a complete failure. But through all of those hardships, Allah was preparing him for leadership. He was not being punished, he was being trained. By the time he became a ruler, his heart was full of wisdom, patience, and humility, qualities that only trials can teach. And that's the way of Allah with those He wishes to raise in rank. When you are brought low, it is often because Allah wants you to see something you couldn't see before. Maybe He wants you to reflect, to change, to grow. Maybe He wants you to let go of your dependence on people and things and turn completely to Him. He might close doors in your face, not to hurt you, but to stop you from walking into destruction. Sometimes it is only after you've been broken that you finally understand your true worth, not in the eyes of people, but in the eyes of Allah. So never underestimate what looks like a loss. Never feel that you are worthless because you've been knocked down. Those low points are often where your greatest growth begins. Be patient, stay firm, keep praying, because the same Allah who allowed the hardship is the one who can remove it in an instant. And when He does, you will look back and understand why it had to happen. Every fall, every tear, every closed door was a step toward the strength, wisdom, and closeness to Allah that you were always meant to have. When we think of winning in life, we often imagine wealth, popularity, power, or recognition. But in Islam, true victory is not defined by worldly success. It is found in submission. The very word Islam means submission to the will of Allah, and in that submission lies the secret to lasting peace and eternal success. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not with people, but with your own nafs, your ego, your desires, your pride. And when you conquer that, when you choose to obey Allah, even when it's hard, even when it costs you something, you are a true winner in the sight of your Creator. Victory in the sight of Allah is choosing honesty over deception, even if you lose money. It is choosing modesty over attention, even if you lose popularity. It is choosing patience over revenge, even if you feel you've been wronged. These choices may look like losses in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of Allah, they are triumphs. Every time you hold yourself back from a sin, every time you silence your anger, every time you choose sincerity over show, you are winning a battle that many people don't even realize they're fighting. There is something powerful about the one who chooses peace over pride. It takes strength to forgive. It takes courage to admit you're wrong. It takes deep faith to remain grateful in hardship and content in moments of deprivation. These are the qualities of a heart that is surrendered to Allah. And when your heart is surrendered, it becomes unshakable. You are no longer affected by people's opinions or the ups and downs of life because your eyes are on the bigger picture, the akhirah. The one who submits to Allah understands that this world is temporary, and the true reward lies with the one who sees every effort, every struggle, every silent sacrifice. The Prophet Muhammad lettereftiat, strong one, is not the one who can overpower others in wrestling, but the one who controls himself when angry. That is strength in Islam, not loudness, not arrogance, but discipline, control, humility. And these qualities can only be developed when you live a life of submission. You stop living for the world and start living for the pleasure of Allah. You realize that pleasing Him may mean disappointing others, and you accept that. You realize that success isn't always visible, and that some of your greatest victories will be the ones no one else sees but Allah. The beauty of submission is that it simplifies life. You no longer have to impress everyone. You just have to be sincere with Allah. And the moment your heart aligns with His command, you will feel a peace that nothing else can give. That is the ultimate win. Not fame, not fortune, but the calm of a soul that knows it is in the care of the most merciful. When you live for Allah, you have already succeeded, no matter what the world says.